Hi Des, what do you reckon? Speed picking, Frank and Barley. I had to get this book actually, because there's well, it gives you the formula, doesn't it? Which I'm not sure about. So according to Frank, when you're doing economy picking, you need an even number of notes to turn your lick around from whether you're ascending or descending, which I think is interesting. Because I don't really do that. I just do an alternate pick. That's if you want to purely economy pick everything. But I got the book actually, and there's some really useful exercises in it, so I recommend it. Right, okay then. What we're doing today. Well, today we're going to splurge. That's what we're going to do. Oh, brilliant, Nathan. Excellent. I like it. And what a brilliant pack. That's all of the drums from all of the Riding Out album, plus all the other singles. Yeah. I mean, I really like artist sample packs. I think they're really good. There's not that many for synthwave though. We're one of the very few. Yeah, because it's all useful, isn't it? It's just everything's being used, so it's what you need to get going, really, to make quick decisions. You can just grab anything and it's going to work. Regarding the drums, you just don't have to worry. So, I mean, this is the beauty of discovery. I mean, people will worry, especially like in electronic music, dance music. The kick drum is the most important instrument, right? Um, the kick drum's the most important instrument, right? And what people do, myself included, years ago, is you would just trawl through loads and loads of kick drum samples, getting kick drum samples, and then going into the insanity of getting multiple kick drums. So what you'd start doing is you'll start like getting a kick drum, one for the transient, one for the body, and one for the sub, and then you start like stitching them all together and trying to get them all phase coherent. You haven't made any music yet whatsoever. And then you get a big kick drum, then you start making something, and then it just sounds crap, right? Whereas really, the best way to approach this is just to get any kick drum and just start writing to that kick drum. If you start with a kick drum, whatever you respond to, as long as you're listening to the music that's in front of you, you're gonna fairly make the right decision. I mean, there are some rules. So, I mean, when you writing something on top of a kick drum regarding the low end, when you come to the bass, there has to be one winner, and it's either the kick or it's the sub. So like in drum and bass, which is a great example, the kick, when you listen to the kicks, there's very little, like there's hardly any sub on the kick, and there's absolutely huge low end on the bass, so the bass is underneath that kick. A lot of rock music, the kick is very sort of like short and like subby, isn't it? And then you have the bass sitting kind of above that, and a lot of rock music. And dance music, definitely that. You get the kick, and a lot of people put the bass in between the kicks. Like on the offbeat, or the kick can go over the top of it, and you'll sidechain it. But generally, you'll try and kind of keep your bass away from the sub fundamental of the kick. So by the time you start writing and writing in response to that kick, and you're writing in sympathy with it, it'll sound good. You don't necessarily have to kind of worry about the future, and that's what the problem is. Worrying about the future of whether your kick's gonna going to work or not, and then based on that making loads of crap decisions. So that was me a long time ago, but now I don't worry. You just, the best way is just to do something. Guess if you don't know. There's nothing wrong with guessing. Guessing usually comes from a place of insight anyway. And then, that way, even if it's just a placeholder, you just want to do something so you can actually move the thing forward. That's it, and get to the end. Because especially when you're running something like the music machine, because the music machine has you covered. You don't have to worry about anything to do with the future. You just have to work on what you're working, be in the now, regarding each section of it. Because that maps out the creative process, that modularizes the creative process for you. So you don't have to worry about how you when you're in the process, how you're going to move things on. Because it's got you covered, which is brilliant. So I don't have to worry about those few, if that makes sense. Yeah, good quality amount of shots, brilliant. Yeah, and of course, you want big packs. Yeah, I mean, really, you just want your go-to samples at hand, So, I was listening to an artist the other day, and I mean, he just confirmed a lot of what I think about anyway. Is what we need to be doing is we need to be, for me anyway, as I need to specialize in what I'm doing. So I specialize in electronic music. I'm sort of in the synthwave genre. I do have a 90s influence, I certainly have a kind of sound when I'm doing electronic music, and then, I'm compounding that by adding guitar to it. But it's important for me to specialize in that, because then I'm the own provider as well. So, I'm not that keen on sort of doing completely, totally different genres of stuff as well. So I think it's important to keep, what you're doing with limitations. Working within limitations is also very important to me as well. So again, with the sample packs help you with that. Just having a limited amount of kicks is great. So in that sample pack, Nathan, there are kicks where you've got the modern kick, I think, which is got like sub on it, but it's got a lovely attack to it. So that's great for the low end. You've got the go-to kick, which is relatively short, but also has a low end punch. So that's kind of great for busy mixes. If the bass is higher up, you still got that kind of low end. And then there's things like there are other kicks in there where they're not so subby and more punchy. So there's this kind of everything that you need for the genre, really. And of course, a lot of that, I mean, I say the genre, you can cross that over into anything, really. Those samples, if you so wish. Very good. All right, I'll start in a minute. Right, here we go. So I was up early this morning, as I am now. But it was a late evening. Right. So we're going to go into the arrange view, because I was coaching yesterday, and I was told by the boss, get everybody doing stuff in the arrange. So here we are. Going to do the arrange. So there's the go-to kick. Yeah, so let's have a look at the pack. It's a good sound, isn't it? Now we'll stick it there. Right. Cool. cheating. I've gone back into the session view, haven't I? Gotta watch it. Alright. In fact, Hutch. Right, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do here, so... Okay. Cool, right, so if in doubt, just do this. I'll move on to the next instrument. No creative ideas today. Hello Ryan, hi Sean. I don't seem to have this working. Don't worry. just another cool way of sort of just, you can kind of displace these sort of lines by starting them in weird places and then just having them at an odd length, like 6 notes. Let's try this one here. Let's do something with that. Okay, glue. Let's write some chords. Chords. I'm just going to save here. Okay. Projects. Maybe this one. So that one. Shit. Okay. See, the reason I like that sound because it reminds me of Escape from New York. I love that theme tune, John Carpenter. Right, morning Graham. Yeah, the huge book. Yeah. Yeah, the Frank and he's a legend, Frank, isn't he? I was looking for hairdressing tips actually. Need to sort my image out. I thought that'd be a good starting point. Alright, cool. Alright. Okay, so now chords. So I suppose we'll have to kind of go somewhere with this. So I think, what were we in G minor? Not G major, G minor. Right, we'll stick that in the bass and that there. I'll swap these about in a minute. Okay, extend. So, let's change the voicing up. G, well, this could be a major 7. Sorry, minus 7. Well, that's nice. Sounds far too techno, that. Jesus, right. So, just want to hear that in the bass line. Sounds cool. Bit of extra harmony. Okay. Of course, I've also got the top bass sound as well. That always massively helps out. like that with it, I'm just having a breakdown there.
I'm not ready. Told me that I'm feeling ready. But they
Right, before oh, police siren. No, it's an ambulance. Right, let's have a coffee break. Okay. So, is that a template you're starting with that has all of the drums and instruments in? Yes, so kind of, but so this template actually has been there's a process that I have in developing templates. So this template, I think probably so when I started this template, it was only a drum machine, a bass. It was beats plus 3. It was beats, a bass, a lead, and some chords, and that was it. And after every session, for God knows how long, I used to do this process of writing down wins, problems, and opportunities. So what went well, what were the problems in the session when I was splurging, and then what were the opportunities. And then out of the opportunities, some of that would be developing this template. So there'd be certain things that I'd want to add just to make things easier, like other instruments and stuff like that, or effects. But the philosophy with the beats plus 3 and kind of making a template is that you want to look at your DAW like Ableton, okay? So you want to look at Ableton Live or Logic or whatever you're using, and instead of it seeing it as a studio with lots of like different components in it, what we're trying to do is we're trying to see it as an instrument. And what I mean by that is we want to see our environment as something that we can practice, just like picking a guitar up. So by doing the wins, problems, and opportunities, I was kind of finding out what I actually needed in my template that I was actually going to use, that was actually going to serve the purpose of the music that I'm making and help me come up with some sort of unique style. So that's why I kind of go back to this quite a bit as a sort of the culture that we have at the minute in the music industry with YouTube is everybody when watching videos and tutorials and stuff like that, a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time, we're kind of looking at people who, what they're trying to do is they're trying to solve problems, solutions to problems that we haven't got yet. So one of the common errors for templates is to pile in every instrument you've got just in case you need it, and think about lots of future problems you might have later on down the line. And what actually happens is you end up with all of this stuff, you don't know how to use half of it, instruments that you may or may not need. So just stuff that's not really helping you. And actually when you're faced with a really crammed, busy template that you haven't practiced, it becomes overwhelming and you can't really do anything with it. It becomes a hindrance, you know. We need wings, not chains, you see. So the beauty of this template and how it was designed and the process that I do it, okay, was based on what my needs were, basically, my creative needs. And it works beautifully, you know. So every time, you know, I do wins, problems, opportunities, if there's some tweaks I can do, I'll do that. And, you know, the quality, I mean, not that we're making quality judgments, but just through this process, just things like you know, I've ended up doing like little bits of gain staging and things like that, so the track almost kind of mixes itself. Stuff when I'm splurging sounds all right. And it's constantly updated as well, so I'm constantly kind of tweaking stuff. So the latest things actually I have had a bit of a play about with the gain staging, because it's going to help me later on. It's not just in the splurging that can inform the template, it's actually later on down the line when you're mixing, you know. So one of the things was kind of just working out a really good way of doing the gain staging. So, you know, when you look at this now, when you look at my mixer channel, all of the faders pretty much, apart from these claps, are all up at the top. And that's really handy because the resolution here is it's larger, so it's easier to make adjustments than having all your faders right down here at the bottom, where it's like smaller resolution. So that does help, and you do get a clearer mix because you're not overloading plugins on the way in. So that's one thing. So I have like two utilities. I have one before going into mix rack, and then I have one at the end just to turn things down. So if I've been boosting stuff in there in the mix stage and it gets too loud, then I can gain stage here and it's all very visible. And then the finer fader movements can be done quite visually here. So that's like a handy one. So, you know, that's just the kind of things that happened, and that was based just not because I watched a tutorial and somebody said, like, if you're not doing this, you're doing it wrong. It was actually just something that, like, I need to do this because it's going to save time. And then the more time I save, the more time I can spend writing music. So yes, and just over the time, because I've been practicing it, and as I get used to the template, then you can add more and more stuff in, can't you? So I do use, and also there's limitations, isn't there? Like I always use like the percussion side of things, I always use 808 drums. Or alternatively, I'll have noise hi-hats. So these are things that I kind of use all the time. Everything's in there. I've got like another time-saving thing is, obviously the drums are all loaded in. At least the kicks and snares are. So the kicks and snares are all loaded in, and it's all stuff I've used. And then occasionally when I kind of have a look about sample libraries and stuff, and there's a kick that I want to, like that modern, I mean I haven't really updated this for ages, like the modern kick, then I'll just add that in, give it a go, you know. If it's something I'm really, really wanting to do. Same with the snares. So everything's there, and I can just change the sound, and there's a limitation, which is great, because you know, that's it. You pick one and you move on, and it saves loads and loads of time. So yeah, and then, you know, like the vocals, vocal chops, that's the thing. So I've just got, you know, some vocal things there, some varieties. So I either have vocal stabs in the background, which you've heard me do, actual vocal lines. There's another thing, like a little hook, and then the other thing is I'll use those reverse vocals. That's all set up, ready to go. With actually the it's all ready to go, even with the shimmer kind of set up for it. Because I always use shimmer on those reverse vocals, so they kind of extend into the next section. This I'm often changing. I'm never totally satisfied on what reverbs I'm using, but I just have a drum reverb, medium reverb, and a large reverb, and that's it, and a shimmer. That's all that's on there. And then a lot of it. So a lot of the regular instruments I use, right, talking about limitations. So I really like the SH101. So when we're looking at this bass, I have one bass preset. That's it. It's like sort of just sits in the middle of everything. I use an SH101 because it sounds good. It's mono and it sounds pretty solid in the mix. The other thing is it's really easy to use. I mean, when you look at it, it's a load of sliders, so visually it's quite easy to know where you're at. It's very quirky sounding, the SH101, and it's not like an instrument I see a lot being used in synthwave as well. But like, you know, what I'll do is, you know, when you're in the process, you're always in one of discovery, and so I'll put a bass line in, and you know, if it's not quite fitting, rather than flicking through presets trying to find something desperately, I'll just massage the preset I've got into place, you know. So I have that, and then because it's a style thing, so certain sounds I'll use again and again. So I have a top bass, which is more of an FM thing, just to give things bite. That's there. That's a very regular thing, and it's just like one of those what I call sonic signposts. When you hear that combination of bass, you know it's you know, the track's had something to do with me. But that's not all the time, because I do allow at certain points in the template I do allow random. Okay, so there's a thing that I'll do, a game that I'll play in Splurge, where I'll do just random presets. So literally just whatever preset you land on, whether it's a bass lead or whatever, you're just running with that, and that just practices the idea of the discovery and the philosophy of, we're not designing. So if we have a sound, it's more like, how can I get this sound to work with the music I have? That's the question we would ask ourselves, rather than thinking of the bass sound that we think we need in our heads and flicking through presets and trying to find something. Because what is the chance of A, finding something, or B, trying to make the exact thing in your head? It's not going to happen, and there's no concrete proof that actually it's even going to work. So it makes a lot more sense, doesn't it, if you just get a sound and you just massage that sound into the music that's already there, and music just comes together. And you know, because you're listening to the music's the teacher of everything that you do. It's informing everything you do. Everything just sounds like it's all meant to be together, and it just sounds right, doesn't it? And it makes the music mixing process later on down the line a lot easier, and just everything's more cohesive. So that's it. So you got to again, because I've got to plug the coaching thing. I haven't done it in a while, but I'll have to do it with the group. We'll have to do a refresher on the I do this whole kind of design discovery questions, where we have a bit of a discussion about it, and I say, like, you know, how can you, I give you a design statement, and then you've got to give me it as a discovery statement. Yeah, so there you go, Nathan. Don't scroll through presets. And you know, you can have, I mean, this SH101 is such a simple instrument, right? But then you can upgrade it. You can upgrade your instrument, can't you? You can go, right, well, I've got this simple instrument, you know, you can tweak it here. You can faff about with the filters here. But then here I've got, like, you know, I've put Echo Boy on it. I mean, this is very basic, isn't it? I've got Echo Boy. I've got an LFO thing, so I can kind of automate that LFO. I can just set it on to various parameters, and it'll kind of make them move in time with the music. So yes, you can do little upgrades. You know, I could give it its own reverb. You know, I could do like lots of stuff with the effects chain. You know, there's been various stuff on this before, and then I've put it on and taken it off, and it's just like you know, like your guitar pedal board, isn't it? You just have a guitar, and then you want to make it more interesting, so you think, oh well, I'll get an octavator, and you get an octavator, and you practice using your guitar and your octavator. It's the same with this template. You know, it's just, when we start getting into the computer, we've suddenly got access to absolutely every single thing in the whole entire world, and it just, you know, at that point you're not specialising in anything, you're just skating along the top of having like lots of stuff. So ideally, what you want to be doing is you want to be picking instruments that are simple but deep, yeah, that you can use, because you'll just get more out of it. Just complex doesn't equal good, and hard work doesn't equal good either. Yeah. So yeah, I got the Frank Gambale book, right, because I've been obviously economy picking. The trick with economy picking is it's really good, this book actually. The trick with economy picking is to make it sound not like economy picking for me. So what I've got to do is I've got to make it sound like alternate picking, which I'm getting good at. I was showing Thomas my some of my economy picking licks, and he was like, you couldn't tell that it was economy picking. It's just when you do that fast blurry thing, I don't like that, I like the articulation. But yes, so for a good starter up kind of thing. And the other thing that, with economy picking, when the way that I treat techniques on guitar is it's to serve a purpose, a need, I did this exercise because I get coached as well. So there's brilliant exercise where you just write down all the things that irritate you, that you keep doing when you're playing. When you play the same thing, it's like, I hate that, right? But actually, the thing with that, the reason that you were playing it in the first place is because musically it worked. So there's something there. It's just we get sick of it. So rather than completely moving on, it's good to have a look at ways, like a template, that you can kind of modify it. And where I ended up with that was that I had to kind of resequence things that I was playing, and I needed to look at different ways of playing them. And what I wanted to do was just outside of the skill set of my alternate picking. So then what happened is I had to really, and some of the legato I was doing as well. So I just had to look at a few different things, like how I could use. So then the first thing was I got really heavily into hammer-ons from nowhere, which was a real game changer in my playing, actually doing that right across the board, picking every technique, just touching the guitar, hammer-ons from nowhere, has massively improved my accuracy. So that was the first one. And then resequencing a lot of the stuff I do with hybrid picking was what I did. So then I got into that for a little bit, and then I can't hybrid pick everything, but I was only wanting to hybrid pick certain things like wide interval jumps and stuff like that. And also it's pretty good for limiting when you're recording noise as well, because there's less hand movement. And then the next thing was more specifically to do with, because at work I have to play acoustic guitar a lot, and I do get the opportunity to shred quite a bit. So at work what I was doing is I was really struggling doing the legato stuff, so I needed a kind of way of just helping the legato along. So then that's kind of what brought the economy picking on, really. And then I thought, oh, well, that's cool. And also I need something, because in my playing, I noticed that when I alternately pick and I do the legato stuff and the wide interval stuff, they all sounded quite separate, almost I feel like two guitars when I go into the kind of alternate picking thing. It's just completely, almost too much of a contrast, and I needed something that sat in between. So it just came out that economy picking was the thing, and it does kind of close the gap between all the other techniques as well, and just makes things sound a little bit more coming from the same place, if that makes sense. But the thing was with these techniques is, unlike the template, it wasn't something I need to learn all of these techniques because I might need them in the future. It actually came from, I need them now because I've got specific jobs and I learned those techniques, and immediately they're useful straight away. I've got I can put them to work, and I know what I'm doing with them, and because of that, you're developing them into your style as well, rather than kind of just installing stuff and you're not sure of the context of how it's going to sit with what you're doing as an artist. talking as like some, and I mean a lot of this is to do with. I mean it's okay. I mean like if you can play absolutely everything and you're brilliant at it, that's excellent. You know, and you want to like you're going to be a session player and you can do every style. But for me, it's I can't do that, and it's really important for me to chase this idea of trying to be unique. I'm not saying that I'm massively unique or anything, but I do chase the idea of it. So it has to come from a certain place. So that's. I hope that makes sense, and I hope I'm not rambling. But basically, what it is, you have a why, a what, and a how, and we're always dealing with the how. It's always like how you do this, how you do that, but there's actually no, it's the why that we need to think about. So all of this stuff that you see, it's coming from the why, not the how. And I used to be very how driven, and I used to have like loads of plugins and like use one for like a day and then give up on it and go to something else, not master anything, just a complete hodgepodge, no focus whatsoever. Probably the darkest period of my music making actually was when I got into like pop music, and I was a generalizer. I mean, I learned stuff, but Christ, it was bleak. I used to sit there writing pop music. Honestly, I used to write pop music and submit it to publishers. It was horrendous. I hated it. Because you can't be unique. You're just a cookie cutter. That's it. There's nothing special about any of it. That's why a genre like synthwave is great. Because you're specialising in something. And then all you got to do is just work out about changing an aspect of it. And then you're the only provider for a bit of that particular sound. So if you want, I mean, there's actually lots of like shreddy kind of synthwave stuff, isn't there? But if you want our brand of shrimp wave, shred wave, then you come to McRocklin and Hutch. So yes. Oh, I forgot some more stuff here. So yes, good info, Nate. Thank you. Just going through my. Got to run. This was helpful, Sash. Okay, cool. Excellent. Because it's all about getting tips and and like using them in your own practice and what have you. So the other thing is I'm meant to be running a coaching gym, right? So who here would be interested in attending a free workshop? I'm trying to work out what time it would be. But what I'll do is I'll set up what you need to get. You need to send me an email. So if you just go to the Hutch, the Tim at timhutch.uk email, and just send me an email and say that you're interested in a workshop. I'll sort a time out, and we'll do some coaching gym stuff, and we can work out what your number one. Well, we can work out how to solve your number one music problem. It'll be about an hour session. But it's I'm thinking about doing one maybe Saturday, possibly Sunday evening. So if you're interested, you can go there. We can do a Zoom call. Right, so any other questions? So the next thing for me now is to do a bit of practice, and then I'm rehearsing with Thomas, because we're practicing for a gig, believe it or not, an actual gig in the real world. Which I'm really looking forward to on Friday, and I'm going to be hyperdriving it all the way. Do you ever have to tell someone, don't quit your day? I think day jobs are good because you don't need billions of hours to produce music, do you? And actually, it makes you more organised. Sometimes that resistance of having other things in the way can actually help you. You know, it gives you that break. So the trick for me is to do all of my creative stuff in the morning, and then it's done, and I'm really, really happy, and I can do whatever. You know, you can stick me anywhere. What used to happen is luckily for me, my day job was music, but still, it was other people's agendas, right? So I'd go to work. I'll woke up. Great. When I get in, I'd have this amazing plan. I'm going to get in tonight, and I'm going to have a massive studio session. I'm going to make loads of music, right? And this is what would happen: is I'd go to work, get tired, and then have no attention span when I got in the house, and then basically the family's at you. Will you do this? Will you do that? That's the last job, and then you're like hungry, and then like, all right, well, I just need to have something to eat, and then I'll get to the studio, and then it's about like 8 o'clock at night, and then you can't be arsed, and then you try, and then it's just whatever you do is just crap. And it used to go around like that, and then occasionally I'd have a brilliant session, you know, once in a blue moon, and then something would get finished, and then immediately, as soon as I transplanted the end of the day, where I was knackered and tired and had no attention at all, no focus, and put it at the beginning of the day. So that was the first thing I ever did, actually. 200%. If you want a measurement in percentages, 200. I mean, it was immeasurable, but it would be at least 200% productivity change, and my mindset and everything flipped completely when I did that, because I thought, right, I'm getting up in the morning now. I'm up at 5, and I'm not pissing about with this. It's either you do it or you think of quitting, Tim. That was for me personally. If it's a hobby and you want to mess about with the plugins, just be honest with yourself, and then just go to work and come in and then fiddle with your gear and then go to bed, right? But don't be a stressed artist. But if you're going to be an artist, right, and you're going to do something with your music, then, in the morning, and you're taking it, it's fun, but you're taking it seriously. And like now, I just, like, it's automatic. I just get up and I do the thing, right? Then I remember, like, often, because then I just started getting coached as well, and then so I would wake up and I didn't even have any kind of style at all. I had this vague notion that I was going to do dance music, right? And I'd wake up and every morning I would sit there in my own thoughts thinking, like, don't get up, Tim, and just quit. And I never quit. I fought it. And even though I kind of used to revel in that kind of quitting feeling, I didn't. And I pushed through. And then it becomes a habit. And then it's just automatic and you don't have to worry about it anymore. So you get up, you do your session, you've done your creative lift, and, it's brilliant. And you're free. I'm free. And then I've got loads of time for everybody during the day. I'm not like a frustrated artist, shouting at my kid, daughter, get away, I'm doing this. I can't help you with your homework. I can't do that. I can't hoover the stairs. Go away. Like now, it's like, oh, right, because I've done my music session, I'll hoover the stairs, I'll move the car, yeah. I don't mow the lawn, so I don't have a mower. But if I had, I'd be like, yeah, I'll cut the grass, no problem. I water the trees. I have to water the trees. That's one thing I've got to do. So get the washing out, not a problem, because I'm not a frustrated artist. I've done my morning session, you see. But obviously those early days, it was you're building your belief system up, and I managed to do it, and it's great. And you can work your full-time job, and that's great, and it's got a place, and you can feel like an artist. Like, it doesn't matter about, you want to be releasing music, but you're in the loop. You're creating all the time. You're finishing stuff, and you just have that great feeling of just being an artist, a creative person, and you talk about the process, and it's brilliant. And you're exploring your emotions. So it's been that, you know, like getting up in the morning was a game changer, and, you know, for me, it meant that I was committed, and it was a serious thing. And I also remember early on, as like if I didn't have a very good session, because the sessions even then when I got up in the morning were chaotic. I was like starting a track, and then hi Carl, I was starting a track and then like mixing it too early and all sorts of stuff, and I'd have a bad session and then I'd freak out, and yeah, I didn't have any of the kind of process I have now. But even then, it was a massive improvement. So yes, don't quit the day job, is what I would say for now. Unless your music makes so much money and you know you can it just all takes off, and that's great. Then cut your hours down, maybe. All right, Carl, how's it going? I'm just doing my kind of usual chill out coffee. Knocking a new track up. I'm enjoying the splurging. Splurged a whole track today for a change. Which I'd say I really like, but I shouldn't. Because as an artist, our thoughts in the moment are totally unreliable. That's actually true. Do you know why that is? Someone was asking me this the other day, and I'd actually forgotten why. And then I remembered. The reason is, right, this is the problem. Oh, cool, you're catching up on some things. No, the claps are fine. I quite like claps. Oh, caps. Caps, not claps. All right, because I thought you were clapping. Maybe I need glasses. Right, so the reason, the reason why our thoughts are unreliable in the studio in the moment, so I'm thinking this track's all right, okay, and it probably is okay, but I'm thinking, oh yeah, this is great. Possibilities, future possibilities. Or if I think like, oh, it's crap, I'm having a terrible session, like nothing's going right, this music's awful, right? We can't rely on our thoughts. And the reason we can't rely on our thoughts, right, is simply because I've smashed my phone, so I can't really switch things off. It's totally knackered. See that? Broken. Let's get a new one today. The reason we can't rely on our thoughts, right, is, and it's because of modern music. Oh, hi Enzo. Yeah, I'm live. It's Monday. So the artists, our unreliable thoughts in the process, you know, at any point, completely unreliable. And the reason being is because music, digital music, is absolutely fixed, isn't it? So this music, press play, nothing happens. There we go. So whatever I've done here, it's always going to change the way I left it, all right? But the thing that is changing is me. Now I'm going to go out of this door and I'll be listening to I'll be listening to other music, I'll be having conversations, I'll hear stuff, birds tweeting in the tree, I'll start playing stuff on guitar, I'll be thinking like, oh great, I'm a synthwave artist, then by this afternoon I'm like techno, and then by the end of the day I'm like, oh no, I'm jazz fusion, right? There'll be all of this stuff going on, right, in my head, and all the time I'm kind of changing, and that's why. So we need kind of distance to be able to reflect on, sort of, to get away from our actual initial thoughts in the process, because we're changing. So usually what tends to happen, and then the other thing is when we're in the moment, if something's going well, we can end up listening to our thoughts, or badly. We end up listening, either way, we end up listening to our thoughts, right? And if you're thinking, well, this is a great track, this is going to make me, if they don't sign this, they won't sign anything. I used to say this every time, years ago. They won't sign anything. And this is like me having an opinion on something I've only worked on for an hour, right? So then what I start thinking about is future possibilities. I start imagining the gig, I start like everything. And the finished thing will be like vaguely, you know. So all of this stuff's going on. So I'm up this massive timeline into the future, but I'm not in the now. I'm not listening to what's actually in front of me. And that's the problem. So then you get this thing of like, you think that's a great session, and then you go back to it excited the next day, and then you listen to it, and then you think, that's not what I did. That's awful. That's a nightmare. And it's simply because, you know, A, we've changed with what we were subconsciously influenced with, and B, basically we're now listening to the music and not our thoughts. So there's all these things, variables, that you have to take into consideration. And the best way around that is to not listen to whatever you're doing for a minimum of 3 days. 7 days is best, you know, and that way it gives you enough distance, right? And then you can allow your editor to tell you what to do next. And that's been like an absolute game changer. Saying that, you know, we do have deadlines and we do have to kind of like hammer through stuff as well. So I mean, for a splurge session, I've been absolutely just whacking through that. I mean, like I've been through the whole machine almost. That doesn't mean that's going to be a great piece of music though. But we'll find out in 3 days' time, maybe. You know, we'll go back to it. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll come back to this piece of music. I'll set a timer for it, and we'll have an opinion on it. That's what we'll do. Okay. So I've mentioned the coaching plug, haven't I? Yes. So anybody interested in coaching, send me an email. Always looking for people for the coaching. It's cheap. Very cheap, in fact. It's like the price of a guitar lesson. It's cheap. It's like the price of a guitar lesson from I don't know, just somebody who's doing cheap guitar lessons. Really, it's a bargain. All right. Have you created I'm home alone. This is great, so I don't have to come off the live too early. Have you? But I do have to move the car. Have you created a tune where you were creating it, you hated it, and that you came back to it much later time and found that you really liked it? Yes, this is just what I've been talking about. So that happens all of the time. That's it. That's the one. Okay, so I'm in the process. Your session's not going very well. You're hating what you're doing, but you just you try not to. You know, for me now, it doesn't matter because I know it's a thought. Okay, so the first thing to do is you start like listening to your thoughts. Remember, we have 2 areas of our brain: self 1 and self 2. 2 areas. Self 2 is the one that's actually in the now, which is where we need to be, but self 1 kicks in the editor going, I told you it would be crap, listen to that bass, that sounds shit. Now I bet you pick the guitar up and play crap. Yeah, you're playing crap, typical, right? All of this stuff's kind of going on, so you end up listening to your thoughts. All right. And then what happens is you stop, you basically, the session ends, and then you put it away and you listen to it 3 days later, and then you go, often I'll go, wow, that's amazing. There's some really good stuff here, you know, and that's it. And it's the beauty of the machine that I use, and the process allows you to do that, allows you to have distance. But the trick is to allow at least a minimum of 3 days to 7 days away from that track. And also practicing your direct listening skills as well, you know, understanding that, you know, you have thoughts and you have opinions whilst you're listening to it, and learning to kind of bypass those and to take in as much of the musical information as you possibly can, so you can have an opinion. Enzo, I love synthware, but here in Florida, reggae is super popular in all the venues, so it makes me feel like I should maybe making more of that style of music. Is that a comp, or should I consider it? No, just because everybody else is do something different. You know what I would do? Everything. When you get into synthwave, everything can be a wave, can't it? So you can have reggae wave, reggae synthwave. Do it. That would work. Reggae synthwave. There you go. You've got a unique genre now. Now it's just a leap of faith, Enzo, into doing reggae synthwave. It's just like that offbeat thing. Yeah, I can hear it. I can hear reggae synthwave. But to be honest, you want to be playing to your strengths. But it's certainly a great experiment. And like this is another thing that I'll do in the past is I've got people to make because innovation comes from opposing ideas, doesn't it? So this is a good one. Synthwave, reggae. What happens if you join the two things together? There could be innovation there. There could be something unique, and you could be the only provider of it. So I used to do these heuristic ideation charts where you'd have like different genres of music either side, and what you'd do is you'd number it in which ones, in order of which ones you really like the idea of, and then you would splurge on each one. No, it's cool. I like the questions. Get me talking. Reggae synthwave, there you go. Bang. Anything is possible. And you know what? Like, this is the thing. So, you're right in terms of the value chart. So you have the generalizer, like what I was, writing pop music. Here's a song for Robbie Williams. Here's a song for, I don't know, Shania Twain. That wasn't that bad. Here's a rap song. Shit at all of them, right? Because I didn't have none of it was special. It was just like a very average version of whatever you heard on the radio. Can't remember what I was saying. So yes, the generalizer is the lowest. So that's the least value, and then you specialize, don't you? So you like, I'm doing synthwave. So you're kind of in your little niche genre, and you get your fans that way. And then what you do is you become a transformer, which is the next thing. So you're gonna do you're gonna add reggae to synthwave, aren't you? And then you're the only provider in that genre of reggae synthwave. And then you transcend after that. So then, like, whatever you're doing, no matter what you do with whatever instrument or whatever style, it always sounds like you somehow. But that's a brilliant. It's a leap ahead, Enzo. Reggae synthwave. All right. Oh, Des, right. In the 90s, I got together with a Bhangra keyboard player, and we produced an EP. Satch meets Bhangra sounded great. You see, that's like the thing. I want to hear that. Yes. And there we go. Guitar tuition with Des as well. Bhangra, yes. I've done a Bhangra track before. Yeah. Yeah, it was a laugh. It's on YouTube, and I'm not going to tell you where it is. It was in my horrible pop career, trying to write for pop stars. I did a Bhangra track because I'd do anything. I'd have a go at whacking out any piece of music. East and West, brilliant. Excellent, Des. I'm going to check it out. So I think we're probably getting towards the end here because I've been talking a while and I need to go. Alright guys, so it's been a pleasure. Thanks for watching. we're on tomorrow. I need to make the channel more popular. I have got plans though. I've got a few ideas which I am going to do. Trying out a group session. Coaching. Right. Okay. So, what is the right? So, the way it goes is we go around the room, wins, problems, opportunities, right? Okay. Then I quickly coach you on that, and the time's kind of divided up between you. So that'll be the first half an hour. Okay, and then we all go into an exercise, and I'll do like this presentation thing, and then I'll take you through an exercise, depending on what we're working on at the time. So you're kind of all working individually, right? You do the exercise, and then at the end of the session, we do the wins, problems, opportunities. So you report back to me what you're going through, and then I just talk you through that and make any adjustments. So the time's divided equally amongst you, pretty much. Unless it's a really, really good problem and it's like a shared thing, and then I'll spend more time on that person, but it's solving everybody's problems, basically. So you get plenty of individual time. It's not slavishly kind of timed, but there's lots of time, and and the thing is, right, okay, because with the way that I'm doing this, okay, the only person you're in competition with is yourself, okay? So there's no falling behind, because with the coaching model, because I'm facilitating the skills that are already there, there's no differentiation in the group, so it doesn't actually matter what level you are. You can be super advanced, or you can be just almost a beginner, but as long as you can use like a DAW and some instruments and you can record a few things, you're fine with it. So that's the thing, because you're in competition with yourself, not anybody else. So that's the beauty of it. You don't need to know loads of music theory. You don't have to be an amazing shred guitarist. You just have to be able to have made a bit of music, basically. So yes, that's that. But a good question. I think, Enzo, if you're really interested in the coaching, I would book like a quick sort of like half an hour with me. I mean, if you're free this morning, if you send me an email, I can jump on a quick Zoom call in half an hour, if you want to quickly talk about it, which might be a good thing, and then I can give you the breakdown of it properly. All right then. So I'm going to have to shoot. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. All right. Bye.